Welcome to your doom.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Well, I want this bed. And so he just got naked in the bed. And then I remember Jake going, like, he goes, technically, he could probably get any bed he wanted. Because he, like, picked the worst bed. He didn't even, it wasn't even, it was, like, in this weird, like, overhang. It was, like, on the landing of the stairs.
It was the one everybody could see.
It was the one everyone could see. Yeah. And so, but I remember your brother comes walking out, and he's locking eyes with me. I'm like, hey, Gavin, look. And, like, Gavin looks to his right, and Jimmy was already just prepared with just, like, his fucking ankles up.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm pretty sure your brother gave him a snapshot colonoscopy, but then your brother ran like there was a forest fire behind him.
He did. He ran like Chris Hansen walked in. He was gone.
Yeah.
In his defense, I had never seen a grown man hold himself the way a baby does, where it grabs his toes.
Yeah.
And
if you're familiar with yoga, he was doing Happy Baby.
Yeah.
I think you could probably see like 3 inches below his butthole.
Yeah, he was technically falling over his head. So he was gonna stub his toes behind him.
I think that's great though. Like I still remember Jake being like, he could probably have any bed he wanted. Like all you have to do is just dick it up. You know what I mean? Like dick the sheets up a bit.
Say, welcome to the Non Essentials Pocast. That's as good a start as any. My name is Jake. Happy I saw that. Bussy.
My name's Adam. I could draw from memory, Riley.
Yeah, I will say to add to that, my favorite part is when we pulled up to the house. Before the car had stopped, he was out the door, naked, jumping into the hot tub.
Hell yeah!
And then like minutes later, whoever owned the house came up with like towels, and he like sheepishly got like just eyes above the water.
I think actually, I'll say this. I remember I picked up a free hot tub years ago. You know, you could just get a free hot tub a lot of times. People are like, take this piece of shit, right? Yeah. But it was empty, and he still got in it naked. Yeah. And like we're all just hanging out in the backyard. He's just sitting in my empty hot tub, bone dry.
He'll casually be naked, hold conversation with you, and he's so okay with it that you're kind of okay with it. Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I so childish? It's just a penis, guys.
You don't want to be the weirdo.
Yeah. Real quick, I wanted to say, if you have a chance to get down to the Comedy Cabin, you've heard us talk about it a million times. They're the ones that sponsored this podcast. Go to cabinlaughs.com and honestly get some tickets to come see basically who's coming to town. Speaking of coming to town, here's something that'll never come back.
Santa.
Do you remember the Elon Musk Tesla Roadster when he launched the car into space?
Okay, so when I saw him doing that had to be some sort of like throwback to remember heavy metal?
Yes. Yeah.
In the like 70s like animation thing where it's like it's the Roadster like parking in with the spacesuit. Yeah. There has to be some sort of like callback to that, right?
Like he is always trying to basically do those kind of like pop culture callbacks, and I think he was. I don't remember the exact one. But the Tesla Roadster, I believe it was the first test of the Falcon Heavy. Basically, they had to take normally they would just take cinder blocks up there to prove their concept of, hey, we can move this weight. Yeah. So he sent his own personal car up there, and I thought an update would be cool. So where is it now?
That thing is just careening through space, right? Is it in orbit?
It's in a orbit. So it says Musk's Roadster is not in an orbit around the Earth, but in an orbit around the Sun, a heliocentric orbit. It will eventually crash into either Earth, Venus, or Mars. Earth, Venus, or the Sun, but not for the next.
An asteroid just plows it.
Yeah, but not for the next few million years. But there's a very good chance that when we are dead or gone, and there's like aliens show up here, and they're like, nothing's even left of our civilization. They can just be
plastic bottles.
They can be passed by a guy in a fucking Tesla Roadster just flying by. And like I know recently sentiment has turned on Musk because whatever, but this will still be one of my favorite things that human beings have ever.
So why don't people like him?
Because he bought Twitter, turned it into X.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. And actually, like
Did you hear him just dead name X?
I did wonder about that. Like people are dead naming it a lot. This week, this is one of those. Are we going to talk about? We should mention the Trump. We'll have to at least bring it up. Someone shot at Trump. You all fucking know about it. But what I thought was interesting was like. The first thing I heard about was I was working on a guy, and he's like, I think something happened because I've seen 3 Trump getting shot memes.
Like, dude, that just goes to show, like, most people get their news through the memes. I've seen memes and like, what's this? And I'll Google like, oh, okay.
Exactly. But
I'm in the know.
on Facebook, I had put a post out there where I was basically like, I didn't use the word Trump. I didn't use that. I avoided keywords, and I just asked, like, hey, what are you guys seeing? Because on Facebook, I was seeing absolutely nothing. All I saw was the 50 Cent meme where many men wish death on me. My
Song's
mom
been in my head since Saturday.
Like, dude, my mom sent me a Hillary being like, I missed meme.
Your mom, dude, Molly got you
Yeah,
first?
Molly. Yeah. So that was my
Dude,
first.
Molly's cool, man.
So I asked everybody, like, this is not, I'm just wondering, like, what's your news feed like? And everybody was like, lots of coverage, no coverage. And it basically turned off, like, CNN, all that, a lot of coverage. Twitter, ton of coverage. Facebook, nothing. Absolute crickets. And what I hated about it was it made me feel like I was in, like, a PG movie. Like, nobody wants to feel like they've been put in a box. If I was like, hey, where's the setting of I'm sensitive, I can't handle real world news, that's one thing if I click it. But it bothers me that lots of people were sharing this and no one was seeing it because they don't want that on Facebook.
Oh,
so
I wonder why.
I hate to say, but like with Musk buying Twitter, like it or not, like at the very least, he's definitely keeping free speech
uncensored.
open because
I did see that he's getting a whole bunch of fines, like I think in Europe. Because of that,
you should.
I should have. I didn't know that we were going to talk about X, but I know that he said something like that he had to secretly agree to some sort of censorship or whatever, but he decided to not, and he's facing a bunch of fines over in the UK, I think, because of it. Actually, I have an Elon thing here.
Yeah, let's go for it.
So.
But real quick, it just says that car is in orbit every 557 days. It goes around the sun.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
that's its year.
Yeah, that's its year. Yeah, it's for 6 years for us. It's been up there for 3 years for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't mean to get interstellar here, but like, does that depreciate the value of the car more?
That was the Interstellar joke. You could put classic cars on that big wave world in Interstellar. You just put it there for an hour or two, bring it back and sell it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so
what do you have?
All right, so I thought this was really cool, but I guess it's just another example of how corporations are starting to do the things that the government used to do, right?
Yes.
But NASA is paying SpaceX nearly $1 billion to deorbit the ISS.
I did hear about
the
this.
International
That's
Space
a really
Station.
cool.
And I was sitting there thinking, like, $1 billion?
Yeah.
Like, to just send a couple fucking Boeing mechanics up there.
Ooh.
They'll bring that thing down, like, right away.
Wasn't the last episode we talked about the Boeing astronauts were in trouble? It's like the Boeing astronauts went up to the ISS. They had an issue, and they're like, that's okay. We'll get in the suits. The suits had an issue. But I like your concept.
Yeah. So, but on a serious note, the NASA would like to have the ISS out of Earth's orbit by 2030. Okay, so he's got a few years to do that, and based off of the Falcon X or whatever.
I think it's the Falcon Heavy, I believe
Falcon
it's called.
Heavy,
it's like a 16-story building that goes to space.
Yeah. So because of that, they think that they want to direct the ISS to come down out of orbit into like a remote part of the ocean. And my first thought was like, oh, well, that's how you're gonna wake Cthulhu.
Yeah,
no. But this is just another example, like I said, of NASA collaborating with other.
Musk's gonna do something cool with it. Like it's not gonna come down in the middle of the ocean. It's gonna like go through an arch in that desert. Like a pair, like the guys that jump out of the planes.
Oh yeah.
Musk will be like Tony Stark when the bombs hit behind him.
The famous one in Utah is called the Delicate Arch, I believe.
Yeah.
So I don't think that. But
at the very least, build a big Iowa bullseye. Like, let's see.
Well, okay. So then here's my here's your quote here. When deep space exploration ramps up, it'll be the corporations that name everything: IBM, Stellar Sphere, the Microsoft Galaxy.
Planet Starbucks.
Yeah. So there's your Fight Club reference. But my main concern, however, the main concern with the ISS coming down is that obviously they don't want to bring this thing down in the middle of Times Square, so they need to keep it all together as best as possible.
Sure.
So that's where Elon is going to come in. That's good. I didn't know this, but the thing is super fragile.
Yeah.
And I guess if it breaks apart too early, then obviously it'll scatter.
I think to this day it's still the most expensive thing ever built.
Is
like
it?
And it's also
probably all the maintenance too. I assume that
not to get like, I don't know, spiritual about it. Like I always look at the ISS. It's like that's the one thing that like, many I don't know how many countries helped build that thing. It was literally hundreds of, it's a collaboration of a space habitat in the sky. It's actually one of the best things we've probably ever done. It costs a shit ton of money, but at the same time, it's like space cash. You know, like we labeled what the money's worth. I think it's the coolest thing we've ever done.
Space cash?
I hope they're, you know, let's do a new one now that we're bringing the old one down. That would be...
Well, no, what they're going to do is they're going to start, because different private companies are going up into space.
Sure.
So NASA's just going to start saying like, hey, we monitor this for us. We monitor this. But so that's where these other private companies are just going to, they're privatizing space travel.
So NASA wants to basically become software, and they want to outsource the hardware to other.
Assume. Yeah.
They want to.
I suppose that's.
They're like, we train astronauts, we study science. We don't want to facilitate. We don't want to facilitate. It's basically the same thing as air travel. At one point, air travel was military, and then private companies stepped in to facilitate us needing to go see a Taylor Swift concert or whatever.
Taylor Swift needs to see her boyfriend.
There could have been other examples I used, but that's what I chose.
Okay, so obviously, like I said, the space station is very huge and apparently also very fragile, like I said. Now, I decided, I was like, you know, how big is the ISS? And I looked up the size of it. It is 109 meters and weighs just under 420 metric tons. And now
I don't know.
Exactly. And I thought, and look at I've got a couple of shaking heads. So I decided to break it down even further. So I'm glad.
It's been a great your mama joke right there.
So Molly's a nice lady. So
not at me, at Brian.
Okay. So this is still, if you can't picture the size of this thing, the ISS is just a little longer than the American football field, and weighs the same as 2,643 Lizzos when she was at her heaviest.
Oh,
so that's real math.
I do love, like, do you remember when there was they used to, did you actually do that math?
Yeah, I did. It said that she was 350 pounds at her heaviest. I was like, well.
That's a lot of Lizzos.
Not that many, actually, when you think of the space station. Dude, 2,643 Lizzos?
That's a lot of cowboys. You need to round that up. No, that reminds me of, like, there was it was a couple months ago. There was like a meteor hit France, and they were like, a meteor has hit France, and it was roughly half the size of a baby giraffe. You're like,
oh, do I have to do that math?
Yeah,
giraffe math.
Yeah, we all know how big a giraffe is, but a baby giraffe.
Obviously, we all know. Okay. No, So since you mentioned what happened on Saturday, you know, with the attempt on.
Like, I want to talk about it, but I'm sure you're tired of it.
It's drowning
in the fucking weirdest thing that's ever happened.
Well, I have to say, here's my, I guess maybe humble brag, but I have a unique story as far as what I was doing when it happened.
What were you doing?
Well, funny you should ask.
Yeah.
But so with my other job, I do some contracting work through security, whatnot. And so I was driving around a representative from one of the states, and he wanted to go to a Brewer game. So we were in this private box, and I'm just with him. I'm basically an Uber driver.
Classic rich guy shit.
Yeah. And anyway, so all of a sudden, this started happening.
Yeah.
Like that, you know, the assassination attempt happened. And of course, I'm kind of like in this area where I'm just eavesdropping on people that know.
Right.
And so before even news got out or anything, or even before the first meme, I was like sending people messages like, I think Trump just got shot.
Yep.
You know? And so
CNN covered it that he fell off the stage. Yeah. That was like the worst.
To be fair, did they lie?
That's fine.
I'm kidding. But like, and so all of a sudden, then the representative that was with me, who was like, I want to go now. I was like, okay, yes, sir. So
you should have fucked with him a little bit. Be like, it's go time. Like, this is a sweeping. Just kidding. In the car.
No, but no. So, and obviously so the RNC, which is the Republican National Committee, it's been in Milwaukee, which is local to us here in Janesville.
Sure.
So I've been working at that for the last like 2 weeks, and I've been watching shit, and I've been seeing it in person and everything. I'm like, man, this is fucking embarrassing. You know, like watching Hulk Hogan rip his shirt off.
Yeah.
On now, this is like center stage. Like, the world is watching the RNC.
Right.
Okay. And him ripping his shirt off Hulkamania style. Like, I'm just like, this is not.
It's not June anymore.
This is not
this
what
is gay.
The fucking founding fathers had in mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I've seen this, like, how old, like, isn't he in his 70s? Like, Hulk Hogan's like in his 70s, ripping his shirt off on a stage. Like,
he's gonna be a handful at the retirement home. No, he really is.
All right, brother, it's time to change my diaper, brother.
All right, But no, and so it started making me think, as far as what the founding fathers would imagine. Right?
Okay,
About this 70-year-old man ripping his shirt off, 80-year-old men running for office.
And first of all, they're like, congratulations on 80.
Yeah. No.
What the fuck?
I will say this, though. If you remember, Mrs. Wright, when Renee, she told us that, because I used to thought, wow, people fucking die at 26. That's old age, right?
Right.
But she said, no, if you make it past childbirth and all of the, in childhood and whatnot, right?
The first gauntlet.
Yeah, the first gauntlet. Yeah. If you make it past, like rickety legs or whatever they were called, the different diseases back then, or itchy tit,
prickly pear cactus.
Prickly pear cactus. That's your Quanah Parker throwback.
Oh yeah, that's
there you go,
horrible.
Jeff. I don't have a Quanah Parker episode off the top of my head, but that's a good one. That if you want to listen to the prickly pear bear, right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I started looking up, what would the founding fathers think as they're signing the Declaration of Independence if they knew what was happening right now? And then I started realizing, how old do you think the founding fathers were? Seriously. Imagine the painting. I know we've all seen that painting where they're signing the Declaration of Independence, right?
Yeah.
Benjamin Franklin's fucking old dumpy ass is right in the center of, I think probably arms akimbo or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I want you to. How old do you think the founding fathers were?
I always thought of it like 30 to 40.
Okay.
Range.
Right.
Something like that.
Okay. I'm glad you asked. Right.
Okay.
James Monroe was 18. Aaron
Hmm.
Burr was 20. Alexander Hamilton, the founder of the U.S. Treasury. Renee's.
They weren't even
heartthrob.
fathers.
They were founding brothers.
They were founding tweens.
But Alexander Hamilton was 21. All right.
Huh.
James Madison, 25. Thomas Jefferson, 33. Paul Revere, 41. George Washington's old ass was 44. That's fucking crazy.
I kind of
right? When you think about the founding fathers of the United States, they're fucking babies. I mean, except for George Washington.
That kind of reframes what they did because they always kind of see it as this regal thing, but that's now the equivalent of when we all went to Panama City. We're just we just piled in a car because we wanted to go.
Well, I'm 44, so that means I'm the old guy.
Yeah.
Hanging out with the 18-year-old.
But I mean,
hey, come on. Hello. How you doing, fellow kids?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the whole threatened to be hung. That doesn't work on an 18-year-old. They don't give a fuck. So I don't know. That's interesting. 18 years old.
I mean, it does. I mean, granted, it doesn't help that they're all wearing white powdered wigs, But
and they had been working for 10 years at that point.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting.
It's concerning.
Yeah.
Because founding fathers always carries this kind of ancient wisdom, aura about it. This idea of these people live through life and they learn these lessons hard fought. And it turns out that they were thinking about masturbating when they got alone. It's
I should have looked up I'm curious how old John Hancock was. This is where we need Tony. Tony's not in tonight, so
it's weird. He feels like the young one of the group.
John Hancock?
Be 16 or something like that.
Well, we've got Tony painted the Crimson Ghost here up front, so that's why I decided to put him front and center.
Okay.
So one of you guys need to be fact checker. How old was John Hancock at the signing of the Declaration of Independence? And we're back. Okay, so it turns out that John Hancock was 40. That tracks. But do you know what really kind of astounded me?
Sure.
Ben Franklin was 70.
Ben's
and that explains it, because I was sitting there. I remember looking at that photo, and I think maybe he just did a splash effect of old.
Yeah.
Or I said photo, but painting. I remember the photograph of back then.
Sure.
No, the painting of that. I'm but yeah, so that explains it. And honestly, I think syphilis adds 10 years too.
It does.
So
no, Ben Franklin has a Hannibal Lecter of the past kind of vibe. They keep finding bones in his basement of his was it
did see
London
that,
residence or something?
Yeah, but I think back then, obviously, he was probably cutting people up just corpses up just like everyone else was. How does this work?
Well, I mean, doctors used to do that and artists and stuff too, because it's technically illegal.
Too, as well. But yeah.
Let's get out of the past. Let's go into a game here. Real quick.
Okay, yes.
I got a catfish for you. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay, so for listeners, I'm sorry for the millionth time, but real quick, basically catfish.
Sorry for the 141st time.
Sure. Catfish is going to be 2 lies and a truth, because a long time ago, I brought a bunch of articles that were bullshit, and Adam called me on it, so we made a fun game out of it. All right, so Number 1, SeaWorld ex-employee has been caught with a missing octopus in their apartment.
Okay.
All right, number 2, rejecting a relocation, father quits the church to open up a popular viral hot dog stand.
Okay.
All right. And number 3, angry ex-hostess at a New York City hotspot dumps poop into the restaurant's koi pond.
Oh man, I wanted to. Okay, so I think it's number 2. I think you did number 1 because we've always talked about, and if you're tuning in for the first time, I think we've joked about a few times recently is that the reason why the plural of octopus is octopuses and not octopi is because it is a Greek word and not a Latin word. So it follows that, right?
I think
But
it was a news
that's-
article that did that. I don't know.
Is it? Okay. But I think that it is, I think it's number 2, but I want it to be number 3.
Okay. So what are you
Read
going
them again?
Just real quick. SeaWorld ex-employee caught with missing octopus in the apartment.
And not octopuses.
Yeah. Number 2, rejecting a relocation, father quits the church to open up a popular hot dog viral stand.
Yeah. My hot dog's pretty viral
Yeah.
too.
Or number 3, angry ex-hostess at a New York City hotspot dumps poop into the restaurant's koi pond.
You know, honestly, hotspot and
Number
poop,
1.
One's fake.
Well, no, I'm saying
Yeah,
you're guessing number 1.
I'm guessing number 1.
Number 1. Okay.
No. You have to guess the real one.
Oh, the real one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think the real one's 3. I want the real one.
Number 3.
I got to tell you this. Anytime I poop, that's a hotspot.
That's true.
Okay, but I'm going to go number 2.
Number 2. No guess. Can't make a decision. She is a woman. That's what you get for not playing along.
Right, guy?
Number 2. Okay, the actual answer is number 3. An angry ex hostess basically got back at her old job by finding a funny way to feed the fish. And here's
just chum the waters?
yeah. And here's what it doesn't say, but I probably guess the fish were fine with it.
She was out there floating biscuits?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like, what a great way to validate their firing. Just like, we
mean,
did the right thing. She shit in the koi pond.
I'd have been like, you know what? I thought this is a tilapia farm.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's a good job.
Oh, man. Okay, so speaking of shit,
What do
did
you have
know,
about shit?
So did you know that the Catholic Church is still making saints?
I did not. Canonizing, I believe it's called, right?
It's
Yeah.
canonizing. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
Obviously, my shit joke was simply just a joke for all the Catholics out there. They're like, fucking unsubscribe. 2 of you.
Do you
All right,
think?
so
Do you think they're going to put down their young boys to listen? Oh, I love looking and seeing an open mouth like, oh my God, he said it. Yeah, I
Mouth
said
agape.
it. My kids go to Catholic school. I got to teach them to be fast.
yeah, what's that? The blessing of the throat?
Yeah,
that you dealt with.
No, the story was came home and like father showed us something called the blessing of the throats. I'm like, tell me everything, omit no detail, however minute. And basically, what happens is they hold candles against children's throats, flesh colored, mind you, and they sing. And then they burn these candles in church, which wards off evil spirits. I have a better idea. Just burn candles. Like, unless I need double-blind studies of less sick elderly people in churches without throat of children touched candles. Like, I hate to be a stickler about this, but you also teach science at this school.
All right, so now I'll start over. So did
Sorry.
you know that it's okay? Did you know that the Catholic Church is still making saints?
I did not.
Now, and I didn't know this either. I thought it was like, they're all just old, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I saw an interesting article about the next person to be sainted, or as you mentioned a moment ago, canonized.
Sure.
Apparently, the church is set to canonize Carlos Acutis, and I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, but it's Acutis. It's
I
Italian,
also don't know.
Yeah, it's Italian, so Acutis.
Sure.
But so set to canonize Carlos Acutis for his short but remarkable life and related recognized miracles.
Okay, so does he have a list of what he did? Or
He does. So
Okay.
he was an Italian teen who died of leukemia in 2006. Right? He was 15 years old when he passed away. This guy was born in 2006. I'm sorry, died in 2006, and he's being canonized.
you
He's
said
gonna be a saint.
teen, huh?
Yeah, isn't that?
I just like.
Oh, we go
What
back to
is-
it. Let's
Is
do
he
it.
being like? I hate to go right back to what I was talking about, but like, What did he is being canonized for secrets he took to the grave? Saint Silent?
Leukemia is code for a pillow against the face.
Well, like honestly, Mother Teresa is who I think of. That wasn't that the last one, and wasn't her whole lifetime dedicated to helping, literally everyone.
I don't know.
That was
I
the
feel
last
like I
one.
remember hearing that Mother Teresa was not a great person, right? Did you hear that too? You did? Yeah. We'll come back to that.
Catholic Church covering up not a great person. Oh no!
All right, so
I hate to pick on such a rich target.
All right. So anyway, so this young boy, this 15-year-old, he was super devoted to the Eucharist, and he used his computer programming skill to create a website that's showing the Eucharist miracles throughout the world.
This sounds like when a grandma is really happy about a kid's Facebook post. Like a 15-year-old is not better than a professional website programmer.
Dude, this is 2006, man. That he
I
died.
guess. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. Yeah, okay.
So this isn't like now.
Sure.
Right? This is, almost 20 years ago.
This is a very weird story because I don't know.
I thought it's pretty interesting. It's as interesting as it is weird, But so it just kind of blew me away because it's like, this fucking kid almost had a driver's license,
right?
And he's getting sainted. He's gonna be on a candle, I don't know. That's weird. Anyway,
it's very weird. He's gonna have an NFT.
So now the miracles, because obviously, as I told you a moment ago, that he has related recognized miracles.
Okay.
And so that he designed this program that would track miracles throughout the world.
This is stupid. I'm sorry.
Honestly, you know what?
I hate all of this.
Tell that.
What's that Righteous Gemstones show? This sounds like we're going to canonize this young man.
Well, I'm just saying, like the tell that to the Brazilian boy who is noted as having a rare pancreatic disease cured.
Okay.
So that's one of his miracles.
That was his miracle on the website?
Well, yeah, that's one of them. Because he has to have a few of these to be canonized.
I'm done with the church. Like this is so.
Your kids are gonna get excommunicated.
That's fine.
So
we're gonna go.
Stop it.
That's fine.
So, all right. So anyway,
thinking about it anyways.
But so I will say this. So I looked at it and I was like, well, who was the youngest kid? Because this one's 15, right? And so the youngest
Saint Swallows. Sorry, terrible. I'll cut this out.
You're gonna be so.
He trained birds. You guys are gross, not me. Like I don't know what you guys are thinking.
European or African swallow?
Right, African.
What? I don't know that.
Yeah.
All the Monty Python nerds are laughing. Okay, so now he is not even the youngest person to be sainted. An 11-year-old girl who forgave her attacker was sainted in 1950. But here's a quick little snippet about her.
Sure. Okay.
Marietta Gorgetti. Okay, Maria Gorgetti, right, was born in 1890 in Italy and was martyred at the age
Italy again with the fingers.
Oh,
yeah.
But she was born in 1890 in Italy and martyred at the age of 11 in 1902.
Murdered, you meant?
Yeah. But she's recognized for her forgiveness of her attacker and her steadfast faith to the face of death. So basically, she is the youngest person to ever be sainted.
This is disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Like, I'm sorry, this is the 11-year-old girl was attacked, and his uncle was a high-up member of the church, and be like, she's a saint for forgiving my nephew,
now, Maria,
Giuseppe.
Maria is
good chance that's his name.
His name is Alessandro Serranep. Oh, my God, I can't say it. Anyway, so Maria is often cited as a model of purity and forgiveness, and her stories inspired many faithful worldwide.
So she was martyred. Like, was she half murdered and then died? And forgave him on the way?
I'm not really sure about that, but I'm going to talk about being martyred in a moment here. Okay. So I started thinking, like, what does it take to be a saint? I want to know if any of us qualify, right? So in order to be canonized, which usually happens at least 5 years after your death, right? Because they're not going to, you can't be alive and a saint just in case you start like, turns out. Yeah, he was doing this the whole time, right?
Yeah.
But
background checks.
The church will investigate the person's life and the virtues, and here's a few of the things that need to happen to be sainted.
I can't wait.
Well, to name a few, they need to be a servant of God. They need to be venerable. And I was like, what does venerable mean, right? But venerable means you lived a life of heroic virtue, that's a cool name. That's a cool word for it, right? And then
in the MLB, there's a lot of baseball records that don't get recognized until you get past the third or fourth inning. So that 11-year-old girl, I'm gonna throw that one out.
Shortstop for the Red Sox.
He might be. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then also you need to have miracles attributed to them, right? So that's where going back to Carlos, where he had the little boy with like the rare pancreatic disease.
Sounds like he's the first one to show them how to clear their search history.
Okay.
Oh, he is God.
And now, and I do need to say that, however, some martyrs are exempt from a few of those listed because basically, if your life was cut short, because of like martyrdom, right? You died for the cause.
Sure.
Whatever. So that's where, like, I believe that Joan of Arc was martyred.
Okay.
So, but Joan of Arc is a saint.
Okay.
But she was martyred. And then I started thinking about. Do you remember when Renee was talking about Olga of Kiev?
Yes.
And for new listeners, if you're interested in knowing more about Olga of Kiev, that is episode 108A. But she was a mass murderer.
Yeah.
Who is now sainted.
That one earned it though. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that is an interesting person. So if you 108A, if you want to listen to Olga of Kiev, that is where Renee cracks an egg of knowledge on our asses.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So.
I kind of want to stick around this 11-year-old girl. Like, let's get all the details of this latest saint.
To be honest with you, I cut out a bit of that because I didn't need to read it. So
I thought it was great.
gross.
I thought I'm sorry. I hate to like pick on
okay.
the Catholic Church, but like I just came across recently that article about the priest.
Define came across.
It was the in Milwaukee apparently. In Milwaukee, apparently, there was a father that had molested up to 200 deaf children, which is the worst thing they never heard.
He wasn't a parent. When you say a father, he wasn't a parent. He was a priest.
Exactly.
Okay, so it was a priest that molested 200. It was in Milwaukee. What Jake is talking about is that there was a Catholic priest that molested up to 200 deaf children. And that literally, instead of it turning a blind eye, they turned a deaf ear, figuratively. That the Vatican knew about it. They did fucking nothing about it. And that is like probably where a lot of
I think that's why I'm a little bristly towards their website boy here.
Yeah, so, all right. Okay, so I got to say something. Sure. Now, last episode, if you remember, we talked about how I believe the scientists in Japan, they have discovered a way to allow humans to grow teeth back.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as a reference to that, if you are just tuning in, you essentially get this IV that. Oh my God, I'm going off the cuff here, but basically,
I remember.
You remember?
Yeah.
So it blocks a protein
right.
in your body. So there's a protein in your body right now that only allows you to grow 2 sets of teeth: your baby teeth and your adult teeth, right? But without that protein being blocked, your body goes, fuck it, more teeth.
Hey, right? Turn you into a beaver.
Yeah, exactly. And so with that being said, I started looking into more tooth stuff, right? And so let me go here. So last episode, we talked about the new procedure that allowed patients to grow their teeth back. Right. Well, I just came across other tooth-related procedures that gives the gift of sight.
I remember hearing about this one.
Okay?
Yeah. Now,
this is fucking bananas to me. Now, it's called osteoodonto keratoprosthesis, right? Or if you just want to look it up, it's OOKP. And it uses part of a patient's tooth to create a prosthetic cornea.
He pronounces it so well as if someone in this room is going to be like, hold on. You are not like, I appreciate your.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Patrick just said the only thing he did well in school was Latin. And I just read a Latin word here.
Oh, okay.
Osteo is bone. Right. Odento is tooth.
Yeah.
Caro is probably some sort of keratin. And then obviously prosthesis is prosthetic, right?
Sure.
I stand corrected.
All right. So anyway, so what they do is they remove the tooth from a patient, right?
Okay.
This person is like lost an eyeball.
Right.
Okay. They remove a tooth from a patient and they like drill and chisel a tiny little hole in that tooth, and then they put like a man-made lens in it, like basically a glass lens into the tooth.
I've seen Terminator.
It does look like Terminator. Okay, I'm gonna get into that in a moment. And then they take a chunk of cheek meat, right? The inner of the cheek meat.
Just be Jack Sparrow. I don't know what to tell you. Just
get an eye patch.
Be the One-Eye Willie guy. Okay,
you want to see One-Eye Willie? Let me finish this drink.
Sure.
So anyway, they take that like cheek meat, right? They make like a skin graft over the eyeball,
I did remember hearing about this because I think the cheek mouth tissue is basically produces saliva, liquid, stuff like that to keep the moisture. Basically,
I would assume so. Because
keep the lens alive.
Are you Ryan? Are you looking it up? You showing him?
No, I'm looking up that 11-year-old girl.
Oh, he's looking up the 11-year-old.
Yeah,
So
I hope it's in.
yeah.
Hope you're in incognito mode.
Okay.
But you're gonna see why I didn't go into detail on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's gross.
Anyway, so with that being said, listeners, don't look that up.
Well, now I'm curious.
All right. So anyway, so what they do is they basically take a skin graft from your cheek, the inside of your mouth, and they put it over your over this tooth in your eyeball.
Yeah.
Okay. And they wait about 2 months because that's about how long it takes for like blood flow to happen to create this like natural part of your body.
Sure.
All right. Now,
first car looked like shit too. I just like.
So the tooth is then transplanted into the eye socket, and then the artificial lens I mentioned earlier, right, where they drill the hole into the tooth.
Yeah.
It allows light to come in, which then obviously hits the nerves in the back. And go ahead. What dumb shit are you about to say?
Dr. MacGyver, you were scrubbed in.
Dude, I'm sure that the doctor who thought of this also came up with like 10 other things that failed horribly.
Like we've installed, we've installed your virtual boy.
All right, so here we are. We
Red.
put a thumbnail on the end of their dick. Okay, like get out of here, man. That's fucking weird. So
Okay,
anyway,
sure.
But no,
it is a miracle, but it sounds
it's
very
a miracle,
crude.
but it's super like it is something out of like
Sounds like you asked someone to make a bomb out of stuff on hand. That's but that is pretty incredible that the body can basically be hijacked like that.
Well, I mean, and I guess hijack's a great way to say it.
I mean, I would totally honestly, I would do it in a heartbeat if it was like the possibility of sight.
Oh my
it
God.
might look a little.
Well,
strange.
it's funny because I literally have in that exact phrase in a moment here.
Yeah.
But so, but
I would
now-
get rid of mirrors though.
So, like, dude, I'm gonna stop you now because you're fucking up all my material.
Oh, okay.
Shut the fuck up. So anyway, now it is hard to imagine. But if you think of the entire visible part of your eye, right? Look in the mirror and and imagine the entire visible part of your eye. You've got the white of your eye, you've got the iris, you've got your pupil, right?
Sure.
All of that, the entire whole thing, it just comprises just like pink inner cheek meat, right? Just
Sunglasses,
right? Now, and then there's just a small, tiny hole drilled in the center of it, and that is where your artificial iris is. Okay. Now, Jake, if you want to post like
sure,
maybe for the YouTube viewers, and they probably get us banned on YouTube for this because it's. I mean, you literally, if you go to Google, honestly, and audio listeners, if you go to Google Images and you type in like OOKP and then like after, you'll see this. Yeah. But it gave me the option to unblur the photos.
Oh, okay.
Because it's.
Actually, I do remember
like that.
I remember you kind of showing this to me. You know what it looked like? Do you know the what you put on your eyes when you go tanning? The little like weird cup just to cover your eyes. It looks like that, but under the eyelid.
Except meat colored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, but I'll tell you, like, and I know what you're thinking, like, why a tooth, right? Like, why the fuck a tooth?
Hold on. Why a tooth?
Okay. Well, honestly, if you weren't thinking that, why the fuck weren't you? Okay, because that's like why a tooth. But the reason is because tooth tissue provides like this durable material that helps stabilize this new cornea prosthesis. Okay, because it's a hard tooth enamel. Okay, so because my first thought was like, well, just use a trunk of bone. But I'm assuming that they don't have to worry about the blood flow. I mean, there would just be dead bone floating in your eye, right?
Well, I mean, even there's a really weird thing I know about, like, what I could see titanium potentially being it, but titanium's the only like element that the body's like, cool. That's why everything, hips and all that, bone will literally grow on titanium. But anything else you put in your body, the immune system is like, this is not part of me. I want out. So it makes sense that it's a tooth. Yeah, it's actually really.
It's pretty
brilliant.
Like I said, like why
you need some reading rainbow glasses, or Lamar or whatever, just to cover that up.
It just seems kind of like either a happy accident. I mean, this is very like Mangala shit. Yeah, right. Like very like I think it's kind of bananas to even imagine this, but like but it's definitely like nightmare fuel. But I would.
Do you think it's like a blind meth head that's like, fuck,
Well, I'm just saying,
Just
like,
no teeth.
but going back to like where I said like you're quoting my notes here in a moment, but in a heartbeat.
Oh,
would
yeah,
do
I
this.
would,
In
I
a
would, 100%.
fucking heartbeat, because like I would rather lose an arm than my sight.
Actually,
like-
that's a great would you rather. Like, ask the audience, one eye or both legs below the knee? That's a tie, I think.
They're all-
So blind or no legs?
How about one eye, but it's bad?
your brown eye.
Yeah. No, because I'm in the same boat with you, to where it's just like eyes,
Dude,
vision.
I would rather lose a lot of things other than sight.
Okay.
You know? And so like I will have Terminator eyes.
Yeah.
Before and just be nubs.
That is fascinating. One thing I know about the actual eye itself is I believe it has a bit of its own immune system, where macular degeneration is one of the worst problems with like blindness for elderly people. And I know with stem cells, the first thing they were trying to fix is the eye itself, because it's kind of isolated from the rest of the body.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so
I mean, you just said the title of I feel like we talked about this a couple years ago, but there's a great book called Blindness, and they made a movie about it too. But if there's my nice movie recommendation, if you ever seen the movie Blindness, it's pretty intense. What they do is the premise where the entire world goes blind,
sure.
except for a few people are still like are immune to the blindness. So it just shows like the depravity of mankind, what happens when like
So only they'd be able to find a gun to end it.
yeah.
So.
But okay, so going back to the notes here. So, but like if you look up like photos of the stuff, it's definitely like nightmare fuel,
Yeah.
right? Like I said a moment ago.
I'll post it for you.
Yeah, no, you definitely should. But but I would totally do it.
Yeah.
Totally do it. But like I think sadly the only things I'd really see are just the looks on other people's faces as they see this thing. You know, like
wow, cool.
Wait, Ryan, are you doing it? Are you showing them? Yeah. Exactly.
I heard ews from the crowd.
Yeah, there we go. Now you know why you have to unblur it.
Tanning bed.
Okay.
Tanning bed? Okay, I was right.
Okay.
Actually, I got something.
But I'll tell you this. It just honestly makes me like lead to wonder like why hasn't Hollywood like used this as like the premise or like background story to like a horror movie? Because all you need is that eye on the movie poster. I'm watching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that movie, the name of the movie, just call it I.
Mhm.
You know, and I'm like, well, go fucking see this. You know.
I got a story that
Wait, I got a story.
no, but I got something.
EYE have a story.
No, I got something that like
Are you still showing them pictures of that shit?
Can't
Well-
see this.
okay, I'll have to put up all these pictures. Ryan, send me these ones that you found. The story I got, well, like not having sight's bad enough.
Just brush your eyeball, man.
Yeah. But there was a few. I don't know if it was quite 100,000 people that wish they didn't have ears this week. But did you see the home run derby at all?
Okay, so is it a girl
Yeah.
who like sang really bad?
Yeah. His
Okay,
name.
so I didn't see it, but I saw an article where I don't want to steal your thunder
Yeah.
here, but she gave it an excuse that I would probably give.
Yeah.
If the podcast goes poorly.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, give your excuse real quick because
I was really drunk.
You're totally stealing the thunder. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the home run derby, Ingrid address. I will say also someone I never heard of. I've heard of thousands of Lizzos this episode, but
2,643.
but they're like, can you believe Ingrid address? So basically, she gave like a Roseanne level Star Spangled Banner.
Oh, where she Hauk Tuah it and grabbed her
Yeah.
crotch.
And I will say this in her defense: it's the home run derby. Who gives a shit? Like realistically, it should.
I don't even watch hockey, so who
Yeah.
fucking watches?
Like it should be drunk guys singing this anyways. But basically, I did listen to it, and yeah, if you're a professional singer and you get drunk, don't do your job that night. Like, listen, I tattoo, I like to drink, I don't do it at the same time. I wanted to, before we get too far, this was the quote from the girl at the home run derby.
Okay.
It was, "I'm not gonna bullshit y'all. I was drunk last night.
Hell yeah.
I'm checking myself into a facility today to get help that I need. That was not me last night, rather. I apologize to the MLB, all the fans, and this country that I love so much."
Ooh,
And-
she doubled down, dude. She hit she went down the list of like all the like, where were you?
Yeah. I do like
And then she's ended with 9/11.
I think this was like her agent talked to her. It's like, listen, you fucked up bad. You have to be seen getting help at this point, even if you don't want to. She's like, fine. So I'm going to check in. I'm going to apologize. Yeah. But again, it was the home run derby.
Yeah.
Like, it should literally be fat guys
but I mean,
singing
if it was recorded, it doesn't matter if it was in her bedroom or not. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
I'm saying if it was shitty enough, it's going to
be
It was
bad.
shared.
Did you hear it?
I didn't. Can you play it? Is it too long?
I'll see if I can play it for the listener. I'll see if I can play it for the listeners. It was you could do it.
I could do it.
You know, she'd be slightly better than you. You know when someone goes up for karaoke and you're like, let's get a drink. That's what it was.
Karaoke.
Yeah.
I've done the first time I ever did karaoke was actually with Jake, and it was at a gay bar.
Yeah.
We sang
you didn't want to do it.
Boys.
Yeah.
The second time was actually at a wedding. And I did the damn band. I fucking need you now tonight. Yeah. I fucking need you more than ever.
I actually, Actually, I have something that I wanted to go into because Adam always brings like super interesting facts, and I found one that I'm like, this seems like a fucking Adam fact.
How many dicks?
Right. So,
way the same as the Lizzo.
So in Warsaw, they get water out of the river. And the main water pump in Warsaw has 8 clams that have triggers attached to their shells. If the water gets too toxic, they close, and the triggers shut off the city's water automatically. And I got a picture here for you. Yeah, it's so you see this picture?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of is it reminds me of the pigeons.
Yeah,
like they were guiding missiles
attacking the ship.
Yeah,
yeah.
Do you remember this story? Well, there was the concept where pigeons could guide missiles.
Yeah, they trained them. They trained them to peck silhouettes of warships.
Yeah,
yeah. But this clam, I thought this was totally Adam shit. It's like a dollop of glue with a spring and basically a little sensor. And if the clam,
that's the same guy that came up with the cornea transplant.
Yeah, this is Rube Goldberg machines. But they are saying that a clam itself is far better than any sensor we can make as humans to detect.
It's got millions of years of evolution to come up with it.
Where basically just if the water gets too toxic, it just shuts the door, and that little spring puts the sensor to shut our door for the water.
Do you know how many clams I've shut with my personality?
Millions.
You can hear them. You can hear them shut when I walk by. And dry up.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I like that.
Yeah.
Dude, to be honest with you, that looks like a 7th grader's art project.
It does.
Yeah. But I dig it.
Yeah.
No, that's super cool.
Yeah.
They just have 7 of them? I mean, let me ask you this.
Then an otter kills a bunch of them and 500 people die of water toxicity. They don't know about it.
Let me ask you this, though. Do they make them face a certain way?
I think just like clams basically just sample the water with their tongue. So I'm sure they're just placed in a cage, allowing access to the
But how does it hit the same spot? Like, how does the little, because basically, so listeners, if you're not familiar, if you're not able to Google it, what it looks like is think of a clam with like an angler fish, kind of like thing hanging off of it, and it comes down and creates a connection.
Right.
Yeah. So but how do they know? Like, what if that thing looks or facing to the left a little bit?
Well, I don't think it looks like the bottom of the clam is kind of secure.
Stationary. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, that's why I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So this is a great example of dude, let nature help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those.
What it looks like to me is the Flintstones.
It does.
Like
the Flintstones.
You think
you got a crap job.
Yeah, all the Flintstones were different, just appliances of animals.
So that's a brilliant bit of engineering.
I like that. Yeah. I like it a lot. Thank you. All right, so I got to tell you this. We've got listener P here in from Arizona, and so I decided to do something I haven't done in a while. I looked up a weird law.
Okay, from Arizona.
So this is a real Arizona weird law.
Okay.
And listeners, I want you to play along, and this is going to follow the same algorithm as Jake's catfish earlier. So it's 2 lies and a truth. So figure out which one of these is the real one. All right, are you ready?
Ready.
And again, this is a real law in Arizona. Number 1, attorneys appearing in Yuma County Superior Court are required to exclusively wear bolo ties during court proceedings.
Okay.
Number 2, creating, possessing, or distributing imitation cocaine is a Class 6 felony.
Okay.
Number 3, donkeys can only be bathed in plastic tubs The use of porcelain tubs may result in forfeiture of the animal along with the fine.
Okay, we got it. Number 3. That's for the real one. He seems pretty certain about it.
Did you shot your hand up?
Yeah, it is like this number. And I like
you want me to read them again?
I like to kind of think it out, and I'm like, maybe because maybe the heels can break porcelain, maybe it results in injury of donkey, and we all fucking hate that. Like,
Heaven forbid.
yeah.
All right, I'll read them again.
Sure, go for
All
it.
right. Number 1, attorneys appearing in Yuma County Superior Court are required to exclusively wear bolo ties during court proceedings. Number 2, creating, possessing, or distributing imitation cocaine is a Class 6 felony. Number 3, donkeys can only be bathed in plastic bathtubs. Using porcelain tubs may result in forfeiture of the animal along with a fine.
I definitely want to go with 3.
I want it to be 3.
For what, I don't know what a Class 6 felony is. I do think people are mad about getting fake cocaine, though. So I could see a path to, especially senators and people that are partying and, going to Milwaukee and having all sorts of fun. So I'm going to go with number 2. I believe that people are fed up with this fake cocaine. Either it, I guess it's nice it didn't kill you, So that's my guess.
So we got.
Well, I wonder if fake cocaine falls under the fentanyl statute or anything like that. So I'm going number 2. So
I already said
3,
Wait.
couple
So
3s.
all
out there?
3s.
Yeah.
All crowd is all 3s.
And a deuce.
Okay, so this is a multi-part here thing, because I'm going to drop some Arizona facts on your asses, all right? So, first of all, the official tie of Arizona is the bolo tie.
I don't care. That's not the real one. But
Okay.
I'm listening.
But, however, so I got to pepper in a little bit of factual things. So the official tie of Arizona is the bolo tie. I thought
Okay.
that was kind of neat, right?
Yeah.
Now, there was a fallacy that donkeys can't be placed in a bathtub in Arizona, that was a law.
What are they, like windshields?
But it's not a law. You'll find it on some sites that it is a law, but then I cross-reference it, and it is not a law. All right?
Okay.
So, however, as of Arizona State Law 13-3453, claiming you cannot create, distribute, or possess even imitation cocaine.
Sick of eating baking soda.
It is literally,
just-
you can't put baking soda in like a tiny little baggie. It is a fucking Class 6 felony. Isn't that crazy?
Is real cocaine's okay?
Yeah. That's,
Well, okay.
That's
So
Class
I'm
7.
glad that you said that,
Yeah.
because I've got an amendment. It says,
what's half fake?
hold on. Yeah. It says, claiming ignorance or holding belief that you are indeed dealing with real cocaine does not serve as a viable defense under any circumstance according to the said law. Even if it did, then you'd be guilty of dealing actual cocaine. Simply put, whether you believed it was real or not, it's against the law.
Well, for what it's worth, I could see this being.
I'm frustrated you fucking got that.
Well, do you
I
remember?
thought for sure you're going to go with the bolo tie.
Do you remember there was a lady? I think it was in Baltimore. She was the result of like the largest, basically reversal of convictions in history, because she got like Employee of the Month for years, because they're like no one can match her test rate, because basically they'd arrest someone for having cocaine, they send it to the lab, and they're like, yep, it's cocaine.
Oh, I do remember this.
Yeah, and that was because that lady was basically like, that looks like cocaine. So there was a guy that was arrested for fake cocaine, and he was like, whatever, I'm going to get out of jail because that's not real cocaine. It came back as real cocaine, and then he countersued, and he was one of the cases thrown out. So I could see them basically being like, you thought you were stealing real cocaine, just as like a legal workaround. But that's
Well, I
interesting.
think that's probably enough people got sick and tired of like the equivalent of, that dude sold me a bag of oregano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Interesting.
It's Class 6 felony for that.
I guess there's some precedence for it, though.
Yeah.
That's a federal pan you on the ass.
Yeah. So real quick, I thought we meant to touch on it earlier, but I thought we touched on it a little bit. But the entire world was updated today.
Oh my
we're
God.
we're suffering for, it was a Windows. What was the name of the company? Strikeforce.
CrowdStrike.
CrowdStrike apparently.
Strikeforce sounds like, but actually
Right.
both those sound like a video game.
Yeah. CrowdStrike sounds like a deterrent company that makes like audible weapons and shit like that. But CrowdStrike apparently sent an update out, Microsoft update, which absolutely just brought the world to its knees. Airports, banks, nothing was working today. And actually, Pat, you had your hotel reservation attempted to be canceled, moved.
He's at his
Yeah.
hotel tonight. My house. His air flight tomorrow.
Yeah. Flights canceled. Apparently, banks were affected. I got so Spanish airports are reporting technical faults and delays. Australian airports are said to be affected. Berlin's, I don't know that word, airport put out a message saying it was suffering delays due to technical faults. Airports in Amsterdam, Budapest airports, local media reporting chaos at the Hong Kong airport. So I don't know what happens when you...
What about the, and was it worldwide? Is it even like the capital of like Thailand?
Essentially. Wait, Bangkok?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm like,
sorry.
It's turning into a Bangkok joke? Okay.
Yeah.
But,
so Bangkok is Microsoft?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're done with that. Okay. Well, let's move along. You've heard about it. I thought it was interesting. Touch on it. Touched all our lives.
You're going to touch on Bangkok?
This is why cash is king. What else you got?
All right. So, actually, speaking of Bangkok, this actually may be my favorite story of the entire week, and I've had a number of listeners send me this story, and I'm super excited about it.
And Trump was shot this week.
I know, this trumps that. Okay, this guy.
Yeah.
All right. So now we mentioned earlier that the RNC was in town. Okay.
Right.
And by the way, like I said, I was at the RNC. I was being paid to be there, and I'm sitting there just like, man, they got a fucking live band playing cover songs, and this shit was like 12 hours.
Okay.
Of like just like, what the fuck, you know, like it was just a weird scenario, you know. And I'm not sure if I'm going to work the DNC is going to be in Chicago this year, so I don't know if I'm going to get contracted out to that, but I'm wondering if it's going to be the same sort of like level of weirdness.
What wrestler you think will be there?
Dude, I don't know. Diamond Dallas Page. That's
sure.
the first one I
Okay.
can think
Yeah.
of. Anyway, so with that being said,
China.
She's
dead.
She's dead. Yeah, she's
right,
dead. You can see her getting fucked in the ass actually if you Google it. So I heard allegedly. So anyway, so the RNC. Speaking of getting fucked in the ass, so the RNC had their big meeting in Milwaukee this week.
Sure.
And now I feel that a good stereotype, you know, and you can argue against stereotypes, but stereotypes are there for a reason, right?
Yes.
But a big Republican stereotype is they don't really accept like homosexuals or their lifestyle.
Okay.
Okay, fair to say?
Yeah.
Now, anyway, for those of you that are not aware of an app called Grindr, it's like a hookup app mainly for gay men.
Which is weird because Republicans are Catholic. So sorry.
So now think of like if you're still confused as far as what Grindr is, think of like Tinder but with more sword fighting.
Sure.
Right?
Okay.
Now, anyway, as per other stereotypes, the more you hate gay people, usually the more gay you are secretly, right?
Yeah.
But with that being said, the influx of the RNC attendees this week put a massive strain on the app's infrastructure, leading to service interruptions.
That's the funniest thing that's ever happened.
So literally, the Republican National Committee being in Milwaukee caused massive outages on Grindr because too many people are using the fucking app. And that is hysterical to me. Now I will say this: I have witnessed Grindr on someone else's phone in action, and there's like a proximity feature in it. So it'll say like, well, this fella is 12 feet from you, or 20 feet, or 100 feet, or whatever, right?
This is all news to me.
Yeah, sure it is. So, but it was Jake's phone.
Yeah.
But anyway, but like you can literally, it tells you the proximity, and like I'm sitting there thinking like, man, I would have loved to have had that app and sit in that building, because you'd be like, dude, my phone would probably start levitating.
Dude, it would look like playing Minesweepers on hard. You're just like, you click a box, 8? How is it 8?
That's funny. All right, I made that joke. All right, so it's like playing Minesweepers on hard. You click on it, it's like 8? How's it 8? All right, so anyway,
it's like verbatim. It's the best compliment.
Thank you. So now I will say this, and this is real. This isn't even part of the bit. But like I saw a couple of fucking guys just sashay around that convention center. I was like,
sure,
yep, you know, and like
trying to stuff their ballot box.
Yeah, they're trying to get their ballot box stuffed. They wanted a mail in, but it's MALE. So
That was really clever.
You want to steal that one?
No.
All right. So anyway, but for the record, I just want to say that the outages had nothing to do with me being there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But I will say that but
So frustrating.
I know. God damn it.
3 times for the record.
But I will say that but I remember years ago I went to this wedding, and it was on Halloween, and it was the reception was costume themed, right? And so I just had a regular suit on, and people were like, "Oh, what's your costume?" And I was like, "I'm a Republican senator,
Sure.
whatever." What they didn't know is that underneath, my big reveal is it was like full on lingerie. It was just like it was a Playboy bunny outfit.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, Victoria's don't tell nobody.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll remind me, and I'll give you a couple of pictures. You can put that up for the YouTube viewers
Sure.
so they can see me and all my grossness. But no, that is so funny to me. The RNC
It's
caused
incredibly
outages.
funny.
And it's like if they would just have their own outages from the closet, then they would just be fine. Like just relax.
Then they'd be Democrats. So. I don't mean to get political here, but I'm just
yeah. All right. So maybe they want to swing to both sides
Oh, there you go.
of the aisle. All right.
Okay, I wanted to go into. I have a Hauk Tuah update.
Wait, before you do, I just want to say I want to thank listener D. I'm gonna
Thank
take
you,
the
listener
last
D.
of these. Speaking of dodging bullets here.
Oh, there you go. Bullet
That's
whiskey.
bullet whiskey. That's a assassination.
Throw it by my ear.
Let me clip you.
Yeah. Huge.
Actually, okay. So since I gotta at least say this. So I mean, it just happened to be it was a happy accident, much like not getting shot in the head.
Seriously, angels in the outfield. What came to mind? Like Christopher Lloyd smacked him.
Well, no. So I saw that. I saw this shot where someone commented on X to Elon. They said, "Hey, they came for Trump. Watch yourself. They're going to be coming for you next, right?" To Elon.
Sure.
And Elon said, and I quote here, he said, "I've had 2 cases in the last 6 months of 2 people who are unfortunately very mentally ill. They came to Austin to try to kill me with guns." And he went on to say that one was extremely schizophrenic who was convinced that Elon had put a chip in his head. That's a quote, right?
Not yet.
Like Neuralink. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but then the other one who had stopped taking his medication, resultingly suffered from, and I quote, total detachment from reality. So, like,
Sure.
I am kind of curious as far as like what will come to play. I do know that they found like the Trump shooter's phone.
Sure.
And I think it's really funny. I don't know the validity of this, but it did say that the last thing he fucking looked up was porn. And I'm like, you know what? I get it.
Yeah, man. It's gonna steady the nerves.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Clean the pipes.
You got to have some post-nut clarity.
Sure.
Anyway, so what do you got?
I like to think he's like jacking off, like, glad that crazy idea's out of my head. Well,
Well, no, because they say that like before any big decision, you should beat off.
yeah.
Should I send that miss you text to my ex? Like, just fire one out. Nope.
Yeah.
Or like, should I buy that car?
Yeah.
Nope.
I live by this. That's why I'm a stock day trader.
Yeah. So like, I would do that, but I just want to follow Nancy Pelosi's stocks. But at the same time, you got to beat off the Nancy Pelosi in your brain.
Oh man, AI's all over that. I don't
Yeah.
want to send you down a rabbit hole, but like, listen, listeners, this is a heads up. Don't, and I'm saying this, don't look up Nancy Pelosi AI porn.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just saying, don't.
Hold on
Here's
a
what I'll
sec.
say. Here's what I'll say about it. Everybody likes to crap on AI, but they are nailing the old arms.
Let me
Everything else looks wrong about it, but
Listen.
the physics on her old arms is spot on.
I like. Can we not talk about that? Because I'm gonna throw up. I'm just kidding. Anyway, hey Siri, Google Nancy Pelosi porn right now. Hey Siri. Hey.
Dude, like 3 of my things just went off. Like this thing's going off. It's doing the little spinning thing.
Hey Alexa,
God.
Google Nancy Pelosi
Yeah,
porn.
thank you. Actually,
Send it to mom.
Hey Alexa, subscribe to the Non Essentials Pocast,
Hey
please.
Alexa,
Yeah.
donate $3.50 to Non Essentials Pocast Patreon. All right, go ahead.
So the last thing I want to say, I had a Hauk Tuah update, and so I will say I feel like she is playing the spotlight well. We've all seen these viral sensations kind of happen. The Chick-fil-A girl was the one that just we all hated instantly after her initial couple minutes of fame, and she played it wrong. She kept trying to like show her face and kept doing the same thing that she got. This would be like the Hauk Tuah girl doing videos being like, Hauk Tuah, over and over. So she's at least smart enough. All her fame, she's been like buying food and donating it to dog shelters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
doing
hell yeah.
smart stuff.
Dude, like she can't get any cooler?
Yeah, she's like...
She's already talking about
yeah.
spitting on dicks. Now she's feeding
Yeah.
dogs?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
She's like, I understand this is probably just 15 minutes of fame, so I'm going to try to tell everybody to buy a bag of food and donate it to a dog shelter. And I'm like, we continue to love you.
Yes.
But I will say she's been offered movie roles that she supposedly turned down. But there's a report that apparently...
Because she act?
No, and she's turning it down. And actually, actresses and stuff, they're like, good. I think that's a good move. But there is a report she's getting a reality show. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about it because...
Is this her spitting on dicks?
I will say...
So anyway, there I was.
Yeah.
I Hauk Tuah this guy, right?
Buy that for $1.
Yeah. Like this is kind of like do you remember like Princess Diaries and stuff like that? Like every girl had this idea that they're like secretly a princess and some castle's gonna call and you're gonna be the most important person.
I remember Red Shoe Diaries.
Not that one. The guys have like the Nigerian prince version of this. I'm just saying it's like from an American standpoint, this is like American Cinderella where it's like this is a reality show. I'm not going to watch it, but this is a reality show worth having because this is what every like kid is fantasizing about, making these videos, doing all this shit.
Embarrassing your family by talking about spitting on a dick?
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, she didn't even embarrass her family. Actually, they did like they tracked down like the town she was from, and everybody was kind of like we kind of thought it was all like a negative thing until she was like, no, it's okay, you can talk to him. So it sounds like she actually is like a small town.
Just put a statue of her spitting on a dick.
Yeah. This is the thing. Catholic Church canonized her.
She died 5 years ago?
I'm just saying, you canonize a 15-year-old boy for clearing your Vatican search history and an 11-year-old girl for getting raped by her brother in the 1800s. I'm like, it doesn't seem like there's
listeners look that up.
There's not that's what it was. There's not a high bar. It seems like a guy with a hat picks. And it depends on his mood. So,
Slithering.
yeah. It's like, she said he was fine with it. Okay. She's pretty cool. Anyway, so she might potentially be getting her own television show because of this. And honestly, this is one of those, like, if you're buying dog food, I'm your fan. You know, like, I approve spitting on dicks and feeding dogs. Yeah, an American sweetheart. Like, this should have been Trump's VP pick. Dodging bullets and spitting dicks.
He can't lose.
Yeah. Crash and Grinder.
I mean, okay, but seriously though,
Unite us.
Can we just say the ages of these people, the ages of our candidates, and I don't want to get political, but we're literally voting on VPs right now. We're not voting on voting on the president.
That's what the JD Vance pick. Like, this is a weird moment because like he's my age. You know, he's my age, and he is, he's one head shake away from being.
Well, like
you don't want me in charge. I'm not ready.
I mean,
Trump's too old. Let's find a nice middle third party pick. I don't know if we even do that anymore.
Let's talk about the conspiracy theory for a moment, and then we'll end on a catfish.
Which one?
Okay,
the Atlantic being heated up.
The one we were talking about earlier today. That like now obviously the Democratic Party they know they've whiffed on this, right?
Yeah.
Because Biden is just like he's not. It feels like elder abuse, right? That they even have him up there. It feels inappropriate. This man should be living out the twilight of his years with his grandkids, but for some reason he's being like shadow puppet into this shit, right?
Yeah.
However, if they pull him down, then they're like, oh yeah, he was pretty fucked up, right?
Yeah.
But if he gets COVID and passes away,
are we doing picks?
We're doing picks.
Yeah.
If he gets COVID and passes away accidentally and tragically,
I'm calling it. He's dying this week.
Yeah, then they'll get sympathy, and then they'll be able to prop somebody else up in his place that they wanted to, that they've had in mind, because they've had a spare tire this entire time.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on.
Do we got hats? I was gonna say, give us a hat.
Damn it! Sorry.
I can't say what I think unless you borrow that to me.
All right, here. Anyway, so with that being said. That is my honest to God. I think that's what's going to happen. Well, I'm going to Babe Ruth it right now.
Here's who I feel bad for. Can you imagine being his Secret Service right now? Like, here's the thing.
Oh, my God. I'd be so freaked out if I was like, dude, just please don't make me culpable. I don't want to be around. Don't let me be in the other room.
Well, It's like
kill him if you want, but just let me be in the other room.
what you have to worry about
Because you're
is
gonna
like
kill me too.
someone dressing up as like honestly, Biden getting shot's the best thing he can do right now. Biden, like getting that sympathy. Secret Service now has to worry about actual people that don't like him, and his own party dressing up to be the fake people that don't like him. Shooting like here's the thing: you got to carry fucking a bulletproof vest and diaper bags. This is not fun. He's gonna look like a tired mom.
Just the Secret Service.
Yeah,
agent.
it's just minivans.
Just like
Get rid of the
bags under his eyes with a cup of coffee and a stroller.
Yeah, and they're late to get him because they just needed a moment for themselves.
Just taking extra long, putting them in the limo, walking around to the other side of the car. It's like a little mini vacation. I think that's a Louis C.K. bit, right?
Yeah.
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 All right. You want to end on a catfish?
Yeah, I think it happens Thursday. What's Thursday from?
Oh, no.
Thursday's a day because Tuesday's with Maury, Thursday's with Biden.
Okay.
So,
all right. So,
let's end on the catfish.
okay. Now it's gonna follow. Thank you for dealing with that. Feel free to cut all that shit so we don't get killed. All right. So
from what?
So, my name's Ryan Erickson. Please.
Don't lie. Don't lie. My name's Ryan Erickson. And I live at.
Yeah. So, all right. You ready for the catfish?
Yes.
Same algorithm. 2 lies and a truth. All right. I'm trying to backpedal us out of this. All right. So, number 1. Ring doorbell captures man's desperate attempt to escape jury duty by leaping into traffic.
Okay.
Number 2. Celebrity TikToker charity scandal exposed. Donations were used for breast augmentation and Botox.
Okay.
Number 3. Woman arrested for calling cops to get out a date with a man she met online.
I hope that's the real one. Because women always do that thing where they like call me, 30 minutes into the date to pretend something. This lady doesn't have any friends. That's going to be my guess is that she's going to call the cops to get away from this one.
Okay. You're going with that one?
I'm going with that one.
All right. I'll read them again.
We got a number 2 or 3.
All right. Number 1. Ring doorbell captures man's desperate attempt to Ring doorbell captures man's desperate attempt to escape jury duty by leaping into traffic. Number 2. Celebrity TikToker's charity scandal exposed. Donations were used for breast augmentation and Botox. Number 3. Woman arrested for calling cops to get out of a date with a man she met online.
The thing is, like the charity donation ones, that's not too different from what the charity big ones do. Like they'll take all the donations, they'll rent out a whole
This
yacht.
is a single person.
I know, but I'm just saying it's like that. I could believe that one too because it wasn't there a charity? Was 98% of all money collected was to throw parties to collect money or something like that. This is high school rules where you pool money and buy liquor. So, but I'm still going to number 3.
Okay. Viewers, audience.
You got a 3. You got 1. What do the rest of you 10,000 people think? All right.
Pick a number.
She's a woman. She won't. Where do you want to eat?
My God.
1, 2, or 3?
4. Okay, so this happened actually in June 2024. Samaya Thomas, 18, scheduled a romantic evening with a stranger she had matched with on a dating app. When he arrived at her doorstep on June 16th, she suddenly got cold feet and phoned the cops. The woman told the officers that the man was abusive. It was an abusive ex who was threatening her and causing physical harm.
That wasn't true? Like they had just met?
Hear me out.
Okay.
Thomas, who also falsely claimed she was pregnant with the man's child, said he planned to hit her, punch her, kick her, and stab her. When officers arrived at the scene, the man informed them that he had only met Thomas via a dating app approximately 1 week prior, providing the officials with proof of messages between the pair. The conversation showed that he was being honest and really did just meet this female. Thomas, however, had told the officers that they had known each other for 2 years and accused the man of being abusive and threatened to cause her harm, while claiming that their written communications were taken over Snapchat, which disappears, right?
Sure.
Now, officers later discovered that Thomas was lying and had deleted messages from her phone between her and her date, and she eventually admitted to making these false reports because she got cold feet on meeting him. The reports claimed that she didn't think officers would help, so she made up this call and events that she had described.
How ugly is this man?
You should look her up. You should.
Wait,
I'll just leave it at that.
So
you
from what
post a picture of her mugshot, and then we'll just leave it at that. Now, as a result, the man who was not named was detained for more than an hour. According to the Daily Mail, Thomas was arrested and charged with 2 counts of false report of indictable. Oh my God, indictable offense to public entity. Oh my, I'm mush.
You're fine.
Which is a misdemeanor, and 1 count of false report on a 9/11 call.
So
9/11 call.
So he
never forget.
So he had never met her.
Never.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
dude,
how ugly is this guy?
He was chatting her up for like a week. She's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, come on over. And he knocked on the door. She's like,
calling the police.
that's my abusive accent. I'm pregnant with this kid. He's gonna beat and stab me.
Wow,
dude,
that's horrible.
That's fucking banana shit, man.
Oh, I do have one more thing before we go.
Oh, let's hear it.
It's just a picture. I didn't dive into it. It's the 1,000-Pound Sisters star Tammy Slayton praised as she shows off 440 pounds of weight loss in plunging swimsuit. So, and she is the scariest thing I've seen since the turtle in Neverending Story.
That is, I think that is a turtle in Neverending Story. I'll tell you this: good for her for taking control of her life. But you showed me that picture earlier, and we said that she looks like her skeleton could spin around in its body. Yeah.
She looks like a half full whitewater raft.
What she looks like is if you were standing in a sleeping bag and then just spun around in it.
Yeah.
Like that is like the equivalent. But honestly, good for her. I'm sure that maybe there's some charity that she can skin graft her body parts and triceps to for, like, I don't know, fucking ocular implants or whatever. Eyeball people. So they don't have, for those that don't have enough cheek meat, they can fucking get her tricep.
I mean, this is probably Ozempic. I mean, like, she looks like someone rolled googly eyes in clay.
But honestly, like, I do like success stories, so good for her. But oof, Maron.
What a way to end it. Jake's an asshole. Hey, look at this lady trying. What a dumb bitch. Actually, is that the one that's like, I'm pansexual, and everybody was like, anything in a pan looks good? So I think that was her.
And a pothead.
Yeah.
No? All right, whatever. Okay.
All right.
So this has been episode 141 and Jake's a piece of shit. And
yeah, we need 299 more episodes to match her weight loss.
I mean, honestly,
that's impressive. That's great. Good
dude,
job, Ozempic.
She lost how much?
440 pounds.
I believe the phrase is she lost Lizzo in 90 pounds.
Oh. She dropped the beat.
It turns out she's got a DNA test.
Yeah. She looks like one of those guys doing like the 10 G's in a plane.
Dude, she is like, remember Tanuki?
Yeah.
The for listeners that don't recall, that the Tanuki is if you played Mario 3 and you got the leaf and then you got turned into the raccoon suit.
Yeah.
The actual story of Tanuki is that he had a giant scrotum.
Yeah.
And this is actually in Japanese lore that the Tanuki has a giant scrotum that he could like wind sail around and whatnot. That's her.
He could squirrel
except
suit
with her tricep skin. So
she could jump out of a plane and be fine.
Oh my God.
She could jump out of a plane and be higher.
Just catch a thermal.
Yeah. Dude, she could like
flying squirrel.
Yeah, didn't like the mom from The Incredibles save her kids by grabbing them? All right, I'm sorry.
Cut all of that.
No, it's honestly good for her. But like her hair, like here's what her hair looks terrible in this.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for that. Your hair can't be fat. Like, look, close. It doesn't zoom. It doesn't want to.
Okay, she does look wet.
Yeah.
Like, no,
she looks like Templeton from Charlotte's Web.
No, she looks like she's covered in bacon grease.
Yeah. She also looks like she has an idea. I'll put the picture up. She's looking at this other thing. All right, 141. Honestly, only people that like us are still watching, and I appreciate you. Please like and subscribe and what all the other stuff. Yeah,
thank you. Thank both of you.
Thank all 2 of you.
Yeah, it's just Tony
you are our
listening
pillars.
Twice.
Yeah, thanks Tony for listening. All All right.
He's got his burner account. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks both of you.
All right.
All right. Later, boners.
Bye.
Dude, look at that photo right now. You fucking
I've
look
seen
at it.
it, yeah.
You go look at it right now.
She looks like she's dripping off
Looks like she
herself.
farted and she's like, do you smell that?
She looks like she's melting.
Yeah.
It looks like the last gasp of a candle.
It's like one.
Templeton.
She does. Looks